Tehran is flexing its muscle in the Gulf, and global markets are reacting instantly, with oil prices surging above $100 as tensions around the Strait of Hormuz trigger fresh panic across financial centers. At the center of this unfolding crisis is a deeper question that is now being asked worldwide: whether Iran is demonstrating that it holds real control over the Strait of Hormuz at a time when the United States is trying to assert its presence. Brent crude prices have shot up sharply, but beyond the numbers, there is a growing debate over credibility, as markets try to decide whether to believe Iran's claims or trust the narratives coming from the US and its regional allies. And as reports emerge of strikes near Fujairah, accompanied by competing accusations and denials, the information war is becoming just as intense as the military standoff, leaving the truth increasingly difficult to pin down. Markets across the world are now reacting sharply to rising volatility between Iran and the United States, as tensions continue to escalate around the strategically critical Strait of Hormuz. Global markets are edging lower as uncertainty deepens in the region, while oil prices remain elevated, reflecting fears of prolonged disruption to one of the world's most vital energy routes. Across Asia, stock markets have slipped further, even as oil continues to hold above the $100 mark, driven by fresh reports of alleged Iranian strikes adding to the instability. Brent crude prices surged by more than 5% after Iran claimed it had blocked a US warship from entering the Strait of Hormuz, according to reports that immediately rattled global energy markets. At the same time, the dollar strengthened while global equities weakened, as the latest incident in the strait sent shockwaves through investor sentiment worldwide.
We're mostly concerned about two things right now: watching inflation and the impact from what's going on in the Middle East, as well as the strength of the economy and consumer spending. I think those are the areas that over the next few months we'll be closely watching. Clearly, earnings are kind of an area we don't need to worry about because they're so good and they're continuing to grow faster than we expect. So the most important metric is corporate earnings. That is a 98% correlation to earnings and stock prices. So that's awesome. But what keeps us up at night is the things that are a little more uncertain, such as employment, the strength of the economy, consumer spending with the layoffs that we're seeing, especially in tech, as well as inflation and the impact energy is having on the United States.
Experts are now warning that even more market volatility could lie ahead, especially as reports emerge of additional warships being targeted amid the escalating confrontation. In a related development, the UAE claimed that it intercepted 15 missiles and 4 drones allegedly fired from Iran on Monday, signaling a widening arc of tension beyond just Hormuz. However, Iran has denied these accusations outright, instead blaming the United States for the attack near Fujairah, further complicating the narrative. These competing claims and counterclaims come at a time when Iran and the United States are already locked in a tense standoff around Hormuz, raising fears that the situation could spiral further. On May 4th, the IRGC pushed out video showing missiles launching and drones flying near US warships in the strait, framing it as evidence that Iran enforced its red lines around Hormuz. In the edited clips, Iranian state media claim the Navy fired cruise missiles, rockets, and combat drones, describing them as deliberate warning shots around what they call aggressor US vessels. According to Tehran's narrative, those firings took place while US-guided missile destroyers were transiting the Strait of Hormuz under Trump's Project Freedom mission to move trapped ships out. Iran says its forces issued repeated radio warnings that were ignored, and only then escalated to live fire around the destroyers, something Washington flatly denies, insisting its ships continued safely on course. The reported encounter is said to have taken place near Jask as the American vessel approached the strait. Iranian state media further claimed that the warship withdrew after the IRGC's response. Reports described the vessel as having altered course and exited the area following the incident. The US military has denied reports that one of its naval warships was struck by Iranian missiles in the Strait of Hormuz. Officials rejected claims circulating in Iranian media suggesting that the vessel was hit during an encounter with IRGC naval forces. US Central Command stated that no American ships were impacted and confirmed that Project Freedom operations remain ongoing. CENTCOM said, and I quote, "Claim, Iranian state media claims that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps hit a US warship with 2 missiles. Truth, no US Navy ships have been struck. US forces are supporting Project Freedom and enforcing the naval blockade on Iranian ports." End quote. A US official also told Axios that no American warship was attacked in the Strait of Hormuz on May 4.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.